We've seen from previous videos that our map object has a basemap property, that is a basemap manager, and we also have an extent property for getting and setting the extent of the web map. In this video, we're going to take a look at some more map object properties. So open up the map object properties.pyscript from the map object folder. We'll take another look at the basemap property for our map object, which returns a basemap manager, and we can retrieve the current basemap dictionary that represents the basemap being used in our web map. We'll also take a look at the bookmarks property. That will return a bookmarks manager object, and from that we can get a list of current bookmarks. We have none on our web map, so that'll just be an empty list. I just want to show you how you can access these. We'll also take a look at the basemap gallery and again at the extent property for our map object. We'll be seeing more of the bookmarks and the basemaps in future sections of this course. Let's head over to the documentation for the map object itself. Here we have the documentation for the map class. It is from this map class that we create our map object. You can see here the basemap property that returns the basemap manager. We have a bookmarks property that returns a bookmarks class from which we can access the list of bookmarks. Center is really only available in Jupyter notebooks, and there's a lot of these properties here that are only in use in Jupyter notebooks. In the future section, we are going to heavily be taking a look at the content property that returns a map content object. This allows us to access our layers and tables in the map and also add layers and tables to our map. Scroll down a bit more, we have our extent. So far we have set the map's extent, but in this video we are going to get the map extent. So let's head back over to PyScripter. We have our imports up the top for our GIS class and our map class. We access ArcGIS Online. We then use the content manager get method, and we're going to supply in our WebMap item ID. This was the WebMap item ID that we printed off in the previous video. I have that stored in a text file. So I'm going to copy my WebMap item ID and paste in. Now I'll also show you where you can find this item ID in ArcGIS Online. So I'll pop over to ArcGIS Online. In the previous lesson, I'm in the settings page of our API Python WebMap. Now up the top in the URL, you can see the item ID. You can grab it from up there. If I go back to the overview tab for the WebMap item, the item ID is also over on the right hand side. So you can grab it from here or you can grab it from your notepad. We'll head back to PyScripter. The content manager get method returns what is known as an item object. We're going to look at an item object in a couple of sections time. Just for now, you need to note that there is a difference between a WebMap item object and a map object. We'll assign our WebMap item object to a variable called WebMap item. Now from this WebMap item, we can create our map object. So here we're calling our map class and supplying in our WebMap item object to create the map object. I'm going to assign our map object to a variable called WebMap. We're then going to get a list of the base maps that are in use in our map. Now there'll only be one, but you're going to see it's made up of a list of dictionaries because our base map can have multiple layers. It can have the raster underneath, the imagery, and it can have what's known as a reference layer that would have place names, county names, country names, and places of interest. So we call our WebMap variable, which is our map object, access the basemap manager, and we print the current basemap to screen. We're then going to see if there's any bookmark set. We know there is not, but we access our map object and the bookmarks property. The bookmarks property then has its own property, which is list, which will be returned an empty list as we don't have any bookmark set, but we will be revisiting bookmarks in a later section. If your organization uses a basemap gallery via a group in ArcGIS Online, we can access the basemaps contained within that group through the basemap manager and the basemap gallery property. In the previous video, we saw that we could set the extent of our web map when we were creating it through the extent property. Here we're going to use our map object extent property to get that extent dictionary and print it to the screen. So let's run the script. Our script is complete. Let's check the output. Here we can see I printed the Basemap. It is a dictionary that contains Basemap layers as a list, and there are 2 entries in that list. We can see that the first layer is a vector tile layer. It is our dark grey base, our dark grey vector, and that the second is our dark grey reference layer. So that reference layer sits on top of our vector tile layer. We printed our bookmarks list. We can see it is empty. We do not have any bookmarks at the moment, but we will add them in a future section. From my gallery basemaps, I have a handful of basemaps in there. Your list here might look different than mine, and that's okay. And then we printed the extent, which was a dictionary returned with a spatial reference key, and then the xmax, xmin, ymax, and ymin values for our web map that defines the extent. In this video, we took a look at a handful of map object properties. These map object properties often lend themselves to another object type, such as the Basemap manager or a bookmarks object, but you can also access some of the direct properties related to the map object, such as getting and setting the extent of the web map.